Weeds are often seen as garden villains, unwanted, invasive, and something to pull and toss. But here's the truth few talk about: some of these so-called weeds are quietly repairing the very soil we think they're ruining. Especially in India, where native and naturalized plants have evolved with our climate, a handful of persistent weeds actually hold the key to regenerating dead, compacted, and nutrient-depleted soil. On Dirt Decoded, we're always about working smarter, not harder, and sometimes that means not pulling a plant that's doing nature's heavy lifting. Let's dive into 5 Indian weeds that don't just survive poor soil, they help bring it back to life. These are often growing unnoticed along roadside edges, empty plots, or neglected corners of gardens. Instead of fighting them, it's time to understand the role they play and how you can use them as allies in your soil-building journey. Punarnava, also known as Borhavia diffusa, you've probably seen Punarnava crawling along the ground in semi-wild patches. It's a low-growing perennial with reddish stems and small pink-purple flowers. It tends to appear in compacted, dry soils where very little else grows. What makes Punarnava special is its deep taproot system. That root not only pulls moisture and trace minerals from deep layers of the soil, but it also helps break up compacted subsoil. As its roots penetrate, they leave behind pathways for air, water, and microbial life to follow. Letting this plant grow in patches of your garden during off-seasons or around bed borders can help loosen the earth naturally. No digging required. Jungle jalebi, or Lucina leucocephala, is a fast-growing tree that's often used in rural India for shade or livestock fodder, but many people consider it invasive because of how aggressively it spreads. However, its ability to fix nitrogen in poor soil makes it a valuable pioneer species in degraded spaces. Jungle jalebi has a symbiotic relationship with nitrogen-fixing bacteria in its root nodules, which means it can take atmospheric nitrogen and convert it into forms that enrich the surrounding soil. Even if you don't grow the tree to full size, letting seedlings develop briefly before chopping and dropping them can, feed the soil and suppress weeds. It's a self-repairing green cover with real nutrient-building power. Third, Krishna Neem, also known as Indigofera tinctoria. Traditionally known for its use in natural dyeing, Krishna Neem is also a soil restorer. As a legume, it's a natural nitrogen fixer, thriving in neglected patches where the soil just lacks fertility. You'll often find it in dry, rocky spots where vegetables struggle. By allowing this plant to grow in rotation with food crops, you're helping rebuild the nitrogen cycle without synthetic inputs. The plant also supports beneficial microbes around its roots, adding more life to an otherwise dead zone. Cut it back before flowering to prevent reseeding if you're concerned about spreading, and use the biomass as green mulch. Parthenium, or Parthenium hysterophorus. Now this one comes with a serious disclaimer. Parthenium is a highly invasive weed and toxic if handled repeatedly without protection. But in the context of severely dead or eroded soil, it's often one of the first plants to show up. Why? Well, because its deep taproot and rapid growth allow it to colonize the most lifeless patches of land, preventing further erosion. In controlled conditions, especially in off-site restoration efforts, Parthenium's biomass has been studied for its potential in improving soil organic matter when properly composted. While it should not be encouraged in home gardens due to its allergenic effects, its appearance is often a signal that the land is trying to heal itself. A better approach is to note where it appears, replace it with safer pioneer species, and monitor those areas for ongoing regeneration. So muthil, also known as Cyperus rotundus or nutgrass, is often, despised by gardeners as a persistent nuisance. But surprisingly, it's actually quite useful when it comes to breaking up hard, compacted soil. It has this dense underground network of tubers and roots that really aggressively penetrate the earth, slowly loosening those tough, hardpan layers over time. Now, while it can definitely be invasive if left unchecked, using it strategically in dead zones where nothing else grows can actually jumpstart biological activity below ground. Once the soil starts to improve, you can actually solarize the patch or, outcompete it with stronger cover crops or maybe some deep-rooted vegetables. So, Mutil doesn't really fix nitrogen, but it does help to restructure the soil and pull nutrients from those deeper zones that surface plants just can't reach. These 5 weeds, honestly, are reminders that sometimes nature's least appreciated plants are actually doing the hardest work underground. They tend to show up where soil has been neglected, overused, or just stripped of organic life. Instead of removing them blindly, observing their presence can teach you about what your soil needs. If you see them, take it as a sign that your garden space is crying out for better structure, more nutrients, or microbial support. Using weeds as allies doesn't mean, just letting them take over. It means using their strengths wisely, letting them grow temporarily, managing their spread, and then using their biomass to heal the earth. Over time, as soil health improves, these plants tend to retreat naturally, making way for more intentional, productive crops. If you found patches of your garden where nothing seems to grow, and you're honestly just tired of layering amendment after amendment with no results, try this slower but more sustainable approach. Let nature show you the first responders. Learn what each plant is telling you. Work with it, not against it. If this guide helped shift your perspective, make sure to subscribe to Dirt Decoded for more grounded insights into building healthy soil in small spaces, balconies, and backyard beds. Share this with a fellow gardener who's been waging war against weeds. They might just discover a hidden ally in the fight to revive dead soil.